Okay, looks like we're live. Don't expect to be doing much talking today, but I haven't streamed for quite a while, and I was about to install Home Assistant on my Kubernetes cluster, and I figured I would just stream the process. I've been tinkering a lot with the Homelab lately, and it's really coming together, and starting to get really satisfied with it. And one of the things that I had been thinking about for quite a while is the Home Assistant. And today I actually installed my Home Wizard sockets. You have this P1 monitor and you have these energy meters like these. I have a few of those installed. I did that today. I've been postponing to do that for quite a long time, but finally I had some time today. So it's working on my app. I can see the power usage on my mobile phone, but I want to have it in my Kubernetes cluster, of course. And how I'm going to do it is I'm going to be installing Home Assistant, and they supposedly have a Docker image for that already. So I'm wondering how this is going to go. I have no idea. I haven't tried this. I haven't tried in my staging cluster. I'm just going to figure it out as I go along, and we'll see what happens. So I'm just going to turn on the screen keys here. Keycaster. Oh, I'm seeing some errors here in my streaming settings. Let me just try to fix that first. I'm streaming in 4K and it's expecting 2K apparently. How do I configure that even? I don't think I can. Like, where can I configure my? Sorry, this is just really messy. I'm just improvising as I go along. But how is the video looking? Is it okay? Am I coming through all right? Maybe the chat can let me know. Keycaster. Let's open that and start casting the keys. Start casting. Okay, now you should be able to see my keys. And yeah, let's go. I have a couple of cleaning up changes here. I'll just commit that first. I think I can use the Homar as a starting point, actually. Home Assistant. Oh, while I'm at it, let me deploy the namespace first. I have that in a separate repo. Namespaces. I'm going to copy this one. assistant. And home assistant, that is now added. So when I commit this, this should deploy the new home assistant namespace. All right, let's get to work on the deployment. Replace everything that's called Homar with Home Assistant. The Docker image is Home Assistant / Home Assistant. And what's the version? I want to pin it. Dev tag 2024.2. That seems like a good version to take. Yeah, 2024.2. Hey, Conrad, thank you very much for that kind comment. I'm glad that my content is providing some value to you. So thank you very much. Shame you can't stick around, but that's okay. See you in the next one. My YouTube streaming software is saying that I should adjust the resolution, but you seem to be able to view it already. Could someone please confirm that you can actually see my video and that it is working as you expect? Streaming is something very new to me still. It is something I haven't done much, so forgive me for any mistakes I make or if the quality is not as expected. Where was I? I am configuring the container port. So which port does the Docker container expect? All looking fine. Well, thank you very much, Cuba. Is there any documentation on the environment variables? Environment. Here we go, environment variables. All right, see you later, Conrad. Thank you for joining in. Hey, Daniel. That's nice to see you. Max 720p. That's something I'll have to fix, but maybe I should not do that here on stream. I'm going to make a short attempt. I promise I'll just try for a few minutes. Because if you look here, this is why the YouTube thing, and here it's saying an error where it's expecting I'm sending 4K and it's expecting 2K, but I have no idea where I can set this expected resolution. No, not exit the stream. It can't be that you can only stream in 2K, right? Can't be. Nothing here, nothing here. 2K available there. All right, well, I'm going to save that for another day, and I'm just going to get going on the... Oh, okay, thank you very much that you can switch to 2K for 140p. I'm going to continue then. All right, so I found the environment variables here, but it seems that it is expecting some sort of configuration.yaml. Isn't there home assistant like Docker compose or something? Home assistant Docker compose. Docker compose files usually are best to use with Kubernetes when you're going to switch it to Kubernetes. Yeah, here we go, Docker compose. All right. Should be accessible using port 8123. So that's the port it's expecting. 8123. And which mounts does it expect? It's expecting a /config. Don't need the local time. Don't need to have the dbus. Privilege true, so it's expecting to run as root, unfortunately. So we'll have to allow the privilege escalation, and we have to do the run as user 1. Let's see, where did I do that again? Is it in the LinkedIn? No. Run as user. Here, run as user. Run as user 0, which is the root user. And I hate it that I have to do this in containers, but usually with these open source kind of things, they actually expect it to be run as root user, unfortunately. Maybe I can write my own image for this deployment one day. For now, I'll just do it like this. I will need a /config, which is, let me just check this deployment. This also is mounted at mount path /config, so it should be here /config, and then I'm going to create a new, add the volume here, and I'm going to create a new volume called home assistant config. And I recently installed a NAS on my home network. So now I have a Synology NAS, which means that I can use a Synology storage class, which is amazing. So let me show you. I have my LinkedIn production deployment here, and I have a actually, is it in the Here we go. Here's the transmission config iSCSI retain. That's the storage class name that I want. I think that's how I set it up. Spec storage class name, access modes, read write once. Let me just double check on that storage class name. Storage class. I have the Synology iSCSI and iSCSI retain. Home Assistant is apparently going to be depending on a volume that where the configuration is stored. Probably won't be able to use the database, so then I'm going to try to I'll just use the retain storage class. And the only difference between the two is that the retain persistent volume will be retained when I delete the persistent volume claim. And this is actually pretty cool. Let me just show you storage class. And here is the iSCSI. So storage class retain. This is the storage class, and this actually goes out to my Synology, and it creates a persistent volume there of the type iSCSI, and it's amazing. You can allow it to expand, and you can resize it. You can mount it into different containers. But the great thing is, like when I have my separate nodes here, and if I drain one of these, when I was using local path, I couldn't exchange containers between the nodes because the storage would be bound to the node. And now when the storage is provisioned on the Synology NAS, I can just move the containers around, and the controller will just detach the persistent volumes and attach them as needed. It works really well. So that's why I'm using that particular storage class, and the code for this is also in the repo if you want to take a look at that. iSCSI retain, read write once. The only disadvantage is that you have to set at least 1 GB. So Home Assistant is never going to use 1 GB, but that's the minimum that the Synology storage provider will allow you to set. So I'm bound to that, unfortunately. Home Assistant config, /config. We have the storage.yaml. Here we go. And the networking I'm going to wait with for a bit. I'll just port forward for now. Basically all I want now is just storage and networking, or storage and deployment. So let's see. Go over it one more time. I have the deployment name, the app. I have the image. It's allowed to escalate and run as root. We don't need the config map ref yet. And we set it to this port. So that's good. The storage is Home Assistant config, and let's just double check. Home-assistant-config, that's also configured correctly. So this should be good to go. So then I'm just going to quickly check. Here we go. My customization of my deployment of the namespace is not working. Let's see. Okay, I have to quickly adjust a secret that I have here, and I don't want to send that to the stream, obviously. Home Assistant. Okay, switching back. Whoa, I have 12 viewers? That's amazing. Hello, everybody. Didn't expect that many spectators. Starting to feel a bit pressured here, even. Flux reconcile customization. All right, so that's now successfully applied, and then I can I will go to the repo, and I'm just going to shoot off the customization by hand first before I commit it to the repo, because Flux takes a while to deploy it, and usually I make a few mistakes and I need to adjust a few things. So yeah, I have it in the, here already, here we go. I have it in my base directory. You know what, I'm just going to keep this screen just for Vim. I forgot already to create a separate directory for my deployment here. So I'm going to copy this one and paste it, call it Home Assistant. And in this directory, I basically just have a customization that is pointing to base Home Assistant. Doesn't need any config maps yet. No ingress. Just the customization.yaml. Yep. And so this customization YAML in my production directory is going to go back to the base directory and take all of the files that are defined in this customization.yaml, which is the deployment and the storage. Yeah, right. If you, well, actually, you can see it when I type secrets, that's right. But sometimes when you enter a field, the keycaster actually picks it up and it won't show the keys when I'm punching in. That's actually really, really cool. Wait, maybe, can I even show that? Let's see. Let's go to a private window. And yeah, here is a password field. So if my theory is correct, yeah, right? Look, I'm in a password field and now it's not casting. And now I'm in a different field and it's casting. It's actually pretty cool. It's pretty intelligent, this thing. And now go back to the password field and it won't. So it works really well. It's called Keycaster. But it's very kind of you to make me aware of that, because you never know. Sometimes you get distracted, and I'm not used to live streaming at all, so used to just working alone. Back to the Homelab repo. I'm going to go to apps, production, Home Assistant. And let me just Flux, no. Okay, customize, build. What's it again? Let me check my notes on that. Customize. kubectl customize, that's the command. Here. Now it just outputs, if you run kubectl customize, then it will just output the files as they're going to be rendered. So now I know I'm in the right place. And now I can do kubectl apply k dot. And I will do dry run equals server. So this means that it will apply it to the server without actually deploying the resources, but just to check if I did everything correctly. So I'm getting a few warnings about the pod security, which is expected because I have admission policies on my cluster. They're configured by default by Talos Linux. Let me see, persistent volume claim. So here we go, there's an error in my storage. There we go, the name was wrong. And actually, this customization file should have namespace home assistant. And this is exactly why I do it without Flux for the first couple of runs, just to try things out to see if all the files are actually working correctly. Okay, so that seems all right. I'm just getting warnings about my security context. And kget ns. My home assistant namespace has also been deployed. So let's just customize, check if everything is being sent to the right namespace. Home assistant config, namespace home assistant. Yeah. Looking good. So now I'm ready to apply it. Apply without the dry run. Checking if I'm in the right cluster. That's also correct. The other day I almost applied some Homelab staff to a work cluster. I had a bit of a moment where I was almost sure that I was in a different cluster. Okay, so now the files have been applied. If I now go to K9S and if I go to namespace home assistant, I can see that the pod is being created. Successful attached volume. So the persistent volume claim has now been attached. It's actually provisioned on my Synology NAS. And I just saw that the image is actually, where did I see it? Home assistant Docker. Was it like 500 megabytes? Where did I see that? Here. Compressed size, 500 megabytes. That's a big container. Takes a while for that image to be pulled in, supposedly. So in the meantime, I will just check how this looks in Lens. Ah, here we go. It's running already. All right, well, for hope and glory, let's do a port forward. Yay! We have Home Assistant running on my Kubernetes cluster. Well, that was easy. Create my smart home. So, onboarding.html. Am I just going to do this from the local host? Yeah, why not? Let's just start. My name is Misha. Password. See, it's not showing the credentials, so that's great. Okay. I am going to just quickly add that to my notes here. Yeah, Obsidian. Go. Maybe I should just... Yeah. And now it will cast it, so now I have to be careful. So stop casting. Okay. Not that it really matters because I'm not going to be opening this to the public. My home location. Set the location of your home so you can display information such as the local weather. Well, if you look on Strava, you will know that I'm in Purmerend, so that's not any secret information. Do I want to send analytics to Home Assistant? Meh. I'll skip that for now. We found compatible devices already. All right. That was quick. Uh-oh. All right. Wow. I was not expecting that it would go this quickly. That's actually a lot faster than I thought, because we have it running now. That's great. The thing is that I have deployed these home wizard things, and supposedly you should be able to just add this as a what's it called, add-on or something. Let me check. Home Assistant, Home Wizard. Home Wizard Energy. Add integration to my Home Assistant. Okay. Enter the Home Assistant URL. Well, before I do that, I'm actually going to just configure a local DNS here. I'm using Cloudflare for this, so I'm just gonna open Cloudflare real quick. And it shows like stuff that I don't want to show. It's really annoying. But when you open the page, it shows some stuff that you don't want to have public. But now I go to my DNS configuration here, and all of my Homelab is it's done here in tunnels, but it's also on private IPs. So here I can create a DNS record for I already have home as homar. So how am I going to call my Home Assistant domain? As for assistant. Yeah, why not? As. And I will take the IP of the control plane of my production cluster. Okay, save that. And then we're gonna add an ingress here. So here there is, I'm just gonna copy the ingress from homar. Actually, let me just put that in the base directory for now. Here, ingress.yaml. Home Assistant. The ingress class is traffic as.michavandenberg.net. The port number is the I will also need to have a service for it. I remember now. So add a service too. Here, networking.yaml. Home assistant. The deployment has the 8123 port in it. So back to the service. 8123. The app is Home Assistant. And so we're exposing the pod at port 8123. And then my ingress is going to go to the Home Assistant service to port 8123. The host is going to be as.mishavandenberg.net and the name is going to be Home Assistant. Let's encrypt production, name Home Assistant. Yeah, should be good. Then we'll add the networking.yaml and the ingress.yaml to my customization file. And when I then go back and just apply with a dry run server, the manifests are actually working. It would create a service and an ingress. So it should work. So let's just apply it without it. There we go. The ingress is now being deployed. And it should also then start setting up a certificate for it, because I have cert manager already configured. Let me see, secrets. No, custom resources. And cert manager certificate request. Here we go. Here's the certificate request already. It's going to send that out. And when my ingress is ready, network ingresses, the ingress is already up. So now if I go to as.mishavandenberg.net, it should have ended up at my... That's okay. We're almost there, I feel. $81.23. $81.23. $81.23. Let's just double check the service. What happens if I port forward to this service? That will work. So probably just the ingress that's not completely ready yet. Backends home-assistant. And is the service also called home-assistant? That's correct. Interesting. Let's do an NS lookup. It's resolving to the right IP. So DNS is working. Mm-hmm. That's really strange. Why is it giving a bad request if it's already reaching the service? Well, if I go to the IP of thing, of my node, no, then I have to expose it with a node port. That's really annoying. Why? Oh, maybe it is due to the path settings of the Home Assistant. That's probably it. So if I go to, yeah, it's doing some stuff here with the path. Lovelace. And if I port forward from the service to the service, I should say, forward, you go to authorize. I don't want to deploy it as a load balancer, so I think path type. Maybe the path has to be an implementation specific. So let's try that. Apply it, configure the ingress. Now the path is implementation specific, so let's try that again. To no avail. All right, well, I'm going to save that for a later day. Let's just go back to the place where I'm port forwarding. Stop. Do it again. Okay. And this is now the local URL. So it was asking here for the URL. Open link. Do you want to set up Home Wizard Energy? Yes, I do. The IP address of my Home Wizard Energy. All right, so then I'm going to go into my Unify router here, and I'll go into the VLAN that holds no client devices. Let's start with the P1 meter. That's the IP address of my P1 meter here. So do that, submit, success. P1 meter is in my closet. Add. Okay. I have one device here. Oh, wow, look at that. Well, that was quick. Damn, this Home Assistant stuff is really easy. Let's see, can I do the next one? Settings. Home wizard energy. Let's add another one. Here is an energy socket. Let me see which one it is. Can I see that in my app here? Yeah. So that's annoying. So I have a few of these sockets, but I have no way of identifying the number here in my app. Oh, that's really annoying. Let's see. I mean, I should be able to identify this. Huh. Well, let me just add a random one. Okay. Wow. Here we go. 2 devices, energy socket. Oh wait, here I should be able to see some more information. Here is the MAC address. Can I see the MAC address in my thing? No, it only has an UID. But it is working though. That was a lot easier than I thought. So can I... Yeah, here I see this. I see the energy usage of my living room. Wow, this is amazing. This was a lot easier than I thought it would be. Huh. Look at all this nice stuff that you can do. Grid consumption. Here's the energy meter. Use a static price. So how much do I pay for a kilowatt hour now? I have that set up in the app over here. Tariffs. So the standard rate is 0.3733 on the peak hours, basically. Unfortunately, I don't have any solar panels or anything like that. I would love it, but I'm in an apartment and it's rented, so I'm not able to do anything with it. Show me the energy dashboard. Cool. Takes a few hours, but here we go. Here's my energy consumption already done, and it's all set up in my Kubernetes cluster. Well, that was a lot easier than I thought. Now I just have to figure out a way to actually identify these sockets, but yeah, that was really easy. And Home Assistant has a ton of other dashboard integrations, it seems. This is really cool. Lol, it even has media, to-do lists. I wonder what other cool integrations they might have. Do they have anything for Strava? That would be amazing. Strava. No. Home Wizard, Strava. No, there's no Strava integration. I do have that in my Grafana though. Let's check that out. Grafana. And I restarted the stuff today, so I have to do a quick adjustment. But if I take the Strava data source and I query my run activities, I now see that I've been running 19 kilometers this week. That's not right. Save. And distance ran per day. Strava. Run. Save. This is my custom dashboard here, but it also has this dashboard of the athlete overview. It's really, really amazing stuff. I have a video on this. Check it out if you are interested in this too. Here's the athlete dashboard. So here you see all of my activities of the last month. It's really amazing and it's directly in my Kubernetes cluster. It's really, really cool stuff. But there's no Strava integration for Home Assistant, unfortunately. But yeah, it works. It was a lot easier than I thought. We have Home Assistant deployed to my cluster. Now, the great thing is I've been applying this through customization already. So all I really need to do now is to just commit all of this to my repo. And then Flux will take over the resources. So feed deploy Home Assistant. Add that to the code. And from now on, all of this is now being managed by Flux. I'm a little bit annoyed that my ingress is not working. It's giving me a 400 bad request. Home Assistant ingress. Let's see. This break and change may lead to a few divorces breakups. Uh-oh. You can't use ingress anymore? The solution is to check Home Assistant log file for the internal Docker IP proxy address to use. Oh, no, that can't be it. That can't be it. I'll probably have to expose this with a load balancer. Or a proxy, but that's okay. For now, I'm just happy with the solution that I have. So yeah, that's the goal achieved for this stream. I'm super happy with this. So I can just continue adding these energy sockets that I have. And build myself an energy dashboard. I was expecting this to take a lot longer to deploy to Kubernetes, but hey. Let's just check if Flux has handled this well. Yep, Flux is handling this very well. It is now all taken over. And now I have to figure out a way how to get it to work with an ingress. Home Assistant will now block HTTP requests when a misconfigured reverse proxy. If you're using a reverse proxy, make sure you have configured X4 for untrusted proxies in your HTTP integration configuration. Enable parsing of the x44 header, passing on the client's correct IP address in proxy setups. Okay. So where can we make this adjustment? Settings. Network. External access disabled. Here we go. Here we go. So now we'll have to look into this configuration.yaml, I suppose. So, Home Assistant configuration. It is a configuration.yaml. Some parts you need to edit configuration.yaml. Contains integrations to be loaded with their configurations. Okay. So is that already in my container then? Let's check that out. K9s. And we are going to go to the Home Assistant namespace, attach to the shell. Here's the config. Wow, it already has VI in the container. Oh, this is great. This is great. I can just add it right here. All right, so here we had this use x forwarded for. This was helpful. I didn't realize this was the actual IP range to use, not example. All right. This will whitelist all add-ons. So let's add that then. And we have the X forwarded for solution. We add the, here we go. This is the entire block. Let's try that. Okay, here you need to use the internal Docker IP address for your proxy container. But I'm not using a proxy container. Oh, here. A request from a reverse proxy was received from 10.24.1.64. All right, so maybe I'll just add that then. Let's see. Try a few things. try it like this first, because it seems that this is the address where it's coming from. All right. And now I wonder, is there a way to restart it somehow or reload the configuration? System. Reboot your system, it says. Backups, analytics, hardware. No repairs, backups. It's in DevTools. Oh. We're in the system menu option. Top right, there is a button. Okay. Thank you very much, Ava. Restart. Sure. Okay. Unable to find configuration. Creating default one in /config. Okay. So. Oh, great. It didn't write it over at least. So are we back in action? Unable to connect. Let's try port forward again. Yep. All right. Home Assistant is back up. So now, if I try my ingress. Ha! It works! That was the fix. I love it when this kind of stuff happens. So now I am able to go to ass.mishavandenberg.net and ta-da! Here is my Home Assistant. So let's close all of this stuff and definitely make a note of this. So here I will Z Home Assistant. Oh, that is where is the, here we go. Okay, so then I will just Home Assistant ingress configuration and then put this nicely in a code block YAML, and I'm going to note that the IP address of the trusted proxy was retrieved from the pod logs. Yeah, like this one is not secure at all. Thank you for the suggestion, Ava. This one is definitely not secure at all, because in the docs I saw that the Docker Compose actually expects it to be run as a privileged image. You have to set privilege is true, so I'm running this as a root user. Here we go. Allow privilege escalation and run as user 0. But the thing is that the ass.mishavandenberg.com, this resolves to an internal IP address. So this URL is not going to work in your browser. You can try if you want, but this where's my Cloudflare? Here. This is an internal IP address, 192.168.100. So I could have used a local DNS server for this, but I don't have that configured yet. So I'm just using Cloudflare as my local DNS. So you can't actually reach this. There are a few public URLs, but those are secured pretty well. But yeah, you're definitely right. You should not be exposing this in the state that it's in now. But apparently Home Assistant wants this. So log in. Nice. Okay. This went a lot smoother than I expected. You know what? I'm also just going to add this to my Homar dashboard right away. Let's see, add apps Home Assistant. Appearance Home Assistant. Get a nice little icon. Ooh, I like this house one. I like that one better. Home Assistant, and it will go to go. Save. Here's my Home Assistant, and if I save this and click here, I'm in Home Assistant. Yay! Nice. I'm happy I got that to work. Thank you, good people of Reddit. Is this thread closed? It's archived. That's unfortunate. I like to thank people when they solve these kinds of problems for me. But yeah, looking pretty damn good. Now I can just add these sockets, and offline I'm going to figure out a way how to actually determine which sockets is which. I do know some of the energy consumption of some of these, but I have 4 sockets now. One of is monitoring my production cluster. One of them is doing my staging cluster. One of them is monitoring a heater that I have down here. And the last one is monitoring my ThinkPad and screen that I have set up in my living room that are just always on. But yeah, Home Assistant in Kubernetes, easy peasy. And if you want to see the code for this, just check out my Homelab code here. This is my GitHub page, and you will see the Homelab here. And if you go to apps, you will see the commit already, deploy Home Assistant. But here's the manifest that I used for this today, if you're interested in that. I'm a bit annoyed that you can't configure it with environment variables though, but that's just how it is. Let's see, how easy is it to add another socket? We go to settings. Was it integrations? Yeah. Home Wizard Energy. Add another socket. This one. Oh wait, can I see it based on the IP addresses? I know which ones I did first. This is 50, 135, 80. Yeah, that doesn't make sense because all of these were added. I added this one first, actually, so there's no sense in the IP addressing of this. That's unfortunate. So I'll probably have to turn them off to determine which ones I'm actually adding here. That's really unfortunate. But yeah, what are you gonna do? There's only the MAC address that I can see here. No unique IDs at all. No, just add another one. Energy socket, add. Go to my Unify. All of these are placed in their own VLAN, by the way. Oh, this one was already configured. Try this one then. Add. No idea. Two energy sockets. I can see the use though, so maybe if I create a device that uses a lot of energy, I can determine which one is cranking it up. That's actually not a bad idea. I might have to resort to that actually. Let's add the remaining ones. Setting devices, add. Now we're gonna do this one. 50. Submit. Oh, I don't know, just add it in the kitchen. And the last one is here. So I know that one of them is not consuming any. Yeah, this is the bedroom that's here. And I have that hooked up to a heating device, or what's it called? It's a panel oven here. So if I turn that on, then I should see, yeah, boom, 1,000 watts. Okay. Well, here's my way to determine which one is. That's fast. Look how quick that is. If I just turn it on, you can probably hear me turning the switch. Boom, there it is. Few seconds delay. And now I'll turn it off. Cool. So the one that's called bedroom, that is then wait, how can I see which one this is? This one is in the... Where is the room configuration for this? Scripts. Oh, cool. You can add scripts. So here I can actually start turning on and off devices. Oh, here, in living room. There we go. That's in living room. That one has no room. In kitchen. And this one is in bedroom. All right. So this one we'll rename to energy socket office. How do I manage the rooms? Bedroom. Is that in settings too? Or areas? That should be it. Ah, here, bedroom. Okay, so I'm going to create an area, which is my office. So like a desk or a, yeah, here's a desk. Add, so this is my office. And then this device will be going to the office. Here we go. Now I'm figuring it out. Okay. In office. All right. How do you block websites to be accessible from the internet? That's an interesting question. So in my case, when you do a DNS, when you put an URL in the browser, so in this case ask.mishavandenberg.net, then you are first querying a DNS server, and the DNS server is going to return an IP address. So if I do ns lookup ask.mishavandenberg.net, you'll see that you get back this IP address, because that's the IP address that I configured here in Cloudflare in my DNS records here. So that works as intended. However, this IP address is a private IP address. So you can enter this into your browser at home, and then you will be routed to this IP address, which is internal. So if you have a device on this IP address, you might be routed to something, but most likely you won't. And then it doesn't route anywhere. You get the IP back, but it doesn't mean anything. It's only because I have an ingress resource in Kubernetes listening for that URL on that IP that it actually is routing. So hopefully that answers your question. And if not, just let me know. I'll try to explain it further. All right, so we have the office. Then I have 1, 2, 3, 4 more sockets. Okay. So there's kitchen, living room, and one without. Devices. This one has no room. But now at least I know which one is which. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hook up this oven to the sockets, and I'll just determine which one is which. So I'll be right back. This is an amazingly low-tech solution, but So I have it hooked up to my production cluster now. Yeah, and there we go. So the living room one is production. And lastly, this one is the staging. So production, staging, and kitchen is living room. All right. So going to the socket that's in the supposedly in the living room. We're going to call this production. And we're going to add a new area, which is the pantry, because that's where my home lab is. So production, update. The one without a name was staging. Staging. It's in my pantry. Update. And finally, this one is actually the ThinkPad plus screen. And it is actually in my living room. Update. Cool. So now I see I can see that my production cluster is using less power than my staging cluster, interestingly. Oh wow, this is awesome. Look at that. I mean, I could see this in my app that I have on my phone with the home wizard, but now I can just see it from the browser. This is really cool. Tariff 1, Tariff 2. And my ThinkPad and screen are using 32 kilowatts. Wow, this is really nice. Gonna do some fun stuff with this. Energy dashboard. Yeah. Here we go. So can I set the... I'm not really happy with the tariff settings here. Can I configure that more? Energy configuration. I don't have any return, unfortunately. Use a static price. But why can't... because my contract has high and low tariff. So I should be able to set two prices, right? Use an entity tracking the local costs. Oh, that's interesting. Would my P1 meter have the price in it? P1 meter, energy import, tariff 1, tariff 2. Model P1 meter tariff. Damn it. Sensor cost? No. Well, I'll just use the static price for now, which was 0.37 or something like that. And I'll configure that later. But yeah, I'm happy with my setup here. I'm going to be exploring Home Assistant a little bit more. And I think I'm going to close off the stream for today. Thank you very much for joining, everybody. And yeah, I was surprised to see so many of you. Nice to connect with you. I hope this was useful for you. And if you have any questions, just let me know in the chat or in the comments on my videos, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. So thank you very much for watching, and see you in the next one. Have a good day, everybody.